Hey y'all, welcome back to Cuppy's Crochet Cove, and we're going to start on part 2-ish of the Hungry Caterpillar, and I've changed up a few things. Another version of a stitch marker, different shade of green yarn, and I also decided to change my hook. This is a size I. You can go up and down because, I mean, you're going to want varying sizes for your caterpillar anyway. So this is going to be a smaller size of what we started with because, yeah, it changes size. Small, large, whatever, and you can figure it out, you know, however you want to do yours. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing mine, sewing it, but we'll get there. So let's just jump right in with a slip knot. I can't talk. I know I was trying to do the magic ring earlier, but you know, it's just not my thing. And this is going to be hidden anyway. You can do the, what do you call it? Magic circle. You can do that if you want to, but I'm just not. So I'm going to chain 2 and single crochet into the first chain for a total of 7 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. For round 2, we're going to single crochet 2 single crochets into your first stitch. So I'm going to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this one is always, always, always tight for me. And I'm going to work over my tail. 1, 2, placing my version of a stitch marker. And you're going to go single crochet 2 into each of these until you have a total of 14 single crochets on your round, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Coming up on my last 2 single crochets, and that's 14. Removing my stitch marker. Into the next single crochet, we're going to single crochet 1, and in the next we're going to single crochet 2. 1, 2. Now we have 3 on there. 1, 2, 3. Replacing my stitch marker, and we're going to continue that pattern all the way around. Single crochet 1, single crochet 2 in the next single crochet, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. And our last 2 single crochets, you should have a total of 20 and 21. And removing our stitch marker, and now on to row 4. And row 4, you're going to single crochet 1 in the next, and 1 in the next, putting in our stitch marker in the first single crochet. And now the next single crochet, we'll get 2 single crochets. 1, 2. And at the end of this round you should have a total of 28 single crochets, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. And on the last two, it's going to be 27 and 28. Removing our stitch marker again. And now we're on round 5. Round 5, we're going to single crochet into the next 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Replacing our stitch marker. 1, 2, and 3. And single crochet 2 in the next. 1, 2. So now you should have 5 on your round, and we're going to continue that pattern. Single crochet 3, single crochet 2, 3 and 2 all the way around until you have a total of 35 single crochets, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. And on our last 2, 34 and 35. Now we're on round 6, and round 6 is just going to be 35 single crochets all the way around, and we're going to do that through round 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the next 5 rounds, just single crochet all the way around, and it's going to start looking like a little bowl, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker once I've completed my 5 rounds. And coming up on our last stitch for a total of 35, and you've now completed row 10. Moving on to round 11, we're going to take out our stitch marker and single crochet into the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. Replacing our stitch marker, and in the next 2 single crochets we are going to single crochet 2 together. 1 and hold, 2 and hold, and crochet together, and we're going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 28 stitches, and I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Finishing up round 11 for 2 together, and that's a total of 28 stitches. Round 12, we are going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2, replacing our stitch marker. And in the next, we're going to single 2 together. So there's 1 and 2. And at the end of this round, you should have a total of 21 stitches, and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. End of round 12, 2 single crochets together. And your project should be closing in like a nice little bowl. Round 13, removing our stitch marker, we are going to single crochet 1 into the next, and 2 together in the next 2. One and 2 together, and that's going to give you a total of 14 stitches all the way around, and I will meet you at the stitch marker. Finishing our last 2 together. You should have a total of 14 stitches. And for round 14, we are just going to single crochet all the way around for a total of 14 stitches. Placing my stitch marker. And I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Finishing up on round 14 with our 14th single crochet. Removing our stitch marker. Now I made a boo-boo in the beginning and I figured it out. So now we're going to stop right here and we're going to stuff this. But I learned my lesson. This thing is going to be massive if you stuff a lot into it. And I also learned something else. If you have figured it out ahead of me by now, great. Don't use the pipe cleaners. It's so hard to try and stick everything together without the bending and everything else. So lightly stuff, because this thing is going to be massive. If you want to stuff yours a little more or a little less, that's up to you. Now I'm not going to use my stitch marker anymore. I'm just going to single crochet 2 together for the last last round, and you should have 7. So there's 1, 2 together, and at the end of this you should have 7, but as you'll see in a minute, it doesn't really matter because you're just going to keep going. So just keep single crochet. Yeah, at the end of this you will have 7, and if you want you can stop there. I've already lost count. I don't know how many I have, but like I said, at the end of 7, once you have your 7 stitches, you can stop and go ahead and weave in your ends and leave a long tail. I want to close this in really good, really well. So I'm just going to keep on until my circle is basically closed, because you won't be able to see this in the end anyway. I don't know how many stitches I've done, but I think that's closed in pretty good. And now I'm going to get a super long tail. I'm not great at telling you how long to leave your tail, because I always cut mine too long because I never know how much I'm going to use. And I'm not going to sew this together yet. I'm just pulling my tail through. Not all the way yet, but I will, and I'll show you. And this is why, because I went ahead, I jumped ahead. I haven't done the face on it yet, but that is a pipe cleaner that I went ahead and left because it was too hard to pull out. But I started sewing these together and I realized too much stuffing, yeah, it's going to be massive. So in some, if you know, or if that's long enough for you, or if you didn't stuff or whatever, you can do to your liking. I still haven't put on the eyes yet or anything because I wanted to wait until the end. But we're going to be adding more, so just make as many little donut looking pillows as you like in these two sizes. There's going to be another size coming up, but I haven't gotten there yet because I have a long way to go, because I want to make my caterpillar really large, because whenever I'm finished with it, I am actually going to surprise my local library with it, and I hope they enjoy it, because I just thought that would be really cute, and I think they would appreciate it. And so far this is what I have, and I will be meeting you back later for more of the Hungry Caterpillar. Thank you and have a great day, and God bless you, and let's see where this goes. And also, I forgot the reason why, yeah, I'm scatterbrained. I have not had enough coffee. And I'm trying to fix this so I won't have to hold it so much. So what you're going to do, once you do have your little donut pillow things made, what I did to sew these together, so you can't even tell a whole lot where I sewed, but I put them on like this. There's a tail coming out of this end, and there's not on this end. So what I did was I threaded my yarn, and I started in the circle of the next one, and I just started sewing, making sure that whenever I got, you know, it would kind of butted up tight against there. And then I did sew not just into the circle but around this, so they will stay together really well, because again, you know, this is going into a library if they will allow it. I may come back later and sew around even more tighter just to make it a little more squished together. I don't know yet, but just play around with yours and figure out what you like. And so far, I'm really liking this. It's a project I've never done before, but you know, oh, and that, because there's a lot of colors in the Hungry Caterpillar, and mine's going to be long because I'm trying my best to do it by the book. But we'll see how it goes. And again, maybe this time I'll leave you alone, and I'll meet you back in a little while after I have a lot more of these made. So now I have the head, and according to the picture, there's 20 segments on there, and I don't think I'm going to be adding any wire or the, what do you call them? I can't even think. The pipe cleaners, because I think it's going to look great just the way it is. So now I'm going to go sew every one of these together. Now here at the beginning, I did add a little, okay, I added a lot of stuffing and fluff and everything else, but once I got past the 3 large ones and I went ahead and sewed them together, it was already too late to go back. So I made each and every one of these pieces medium, and yeah, I may or may not come back with the very tail piece for a small one, because I just simply like the way that this looks. So I'm going to go sew them together now. This is going to take a while, but I'm loving how it's looking so far, so I will see you back according to what you're going to see, I'll see you back shortly, but in reality, it's going to be a long time. But it will be worth it in the end, and I'll see you soon. And this is what I have so far. What I did was I laid them out in the order that I wanted them to be sewn together. And so far I've got the red. I know it's not even. That's okay. I'm going to squish it up later. And then I started going down. And this is how I'm sewing them together. With the string on this side, I'm laying the flat side of this part down and just going in and out of a center part on the bottom. I'm not being real picky about how I do it because I've got a lot of sewing to do. And then sew that. I want it tied up against each other, and I'm going to do the best that I can, but once I have it pretty much laid out the way I want, and again, it's probably going to not be straight, but that's okay because I do not want it straight. I want it to be, you know, like a really long caterpillar, and yeah, I mean, if it's going to lay that way, that's fine. It'll just lay that way, and just keep sewing. And I'm probably in spots I'm not sewing enough, or I'm sewing in too much, and that's okay, because I don't want my caterpillar to be perfect. If you want yours to lay a certain way and you figure out, you know, how you want yours to go, great. But for me, I'm just kind of sewing in as close as I can to the center. And then in other parts, because I do want it to hold together for a long time, I'm going to come out a little and sew that, and just keep going. Pull it kind of tight. And on here, I'm not really close to the center, and I'm just going to continue along like that, and eventually this is going to fall over. And you see, I'm not real worried about trying to hide my string, yarn, whatever. I'm just not real worried about it, because again, I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for what I like, and this is just what I like. Now I think that's sewn in good enough. I'm gonna sew in the rest of them a little tighter, probably a little looser, who knows. It's just however I feel depending on the part at the time. But anyway, on this last one, I just sewed in on this one spot, and I'm going to skip a few stitches over, pull out. You won't really be able to tell, or nobody's going to look for the one little stitch. And again, closer to the center, I'm going to put my needle in, and then way over here on the side, I'm just going to go ahead, and now I'm done sewing. So with this is, if I can get my scissors, I've got so much yarn tangled up over here. And now on this, I'm just going to clip that. And it may or may not go back in. If I just tug, yeah, it went back in after I tugged on it a little. Later on, I can fluff and do whatever to these to make it. But I mean, like I say, you know, I've got this so far looking like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and that's okay. But I've got all this to go, so yeah, we'll see what it looks like in the end. And I will see you guys later. Okay, and the last part that I was trying to record didn't do anything. So this is what I finished with. This is 41 inches long, so yeah, about 3.5 feet long. And at the end, what I did do, which was on camera, so I thought, but anyway, the face, I went ahead and I glued my felt nose on, my felt eyes. I glued them together, then I glued them on up here for my little antennas with my pipe cleaners. I cut them a little short. I don't know how long, maybe 8, not, well, however many inches I did. It doesn't matter, because once I did get them done, I cut them to be the same length. So anyway, what I did was I took my pipe cleaners and I went in a stitch and out the other. Went in one and out the other. And then I took my pipe cleaners and twisted them together. And there we go. And now, I mean, they're bendable, they're pliable, they can whatever. And I did not use any wires or pipe cleaners or anything else in the long run. I did want to put a wire in until I realized how complicated it would have been, just because I wanted to have a little hump in his back. But with him being so long, I like being able to move him and bend him and put him into whatever shape I want to. I think it's cute. My friend Christy suggested that I use it as a doorstop, which would be a cute idea, but that would be a really great idea. Something to decorate a little space with. I'm just enjoying playing with him because he's so cute and he's so fun. Oh, I don't like that. He kind of looks like a snake, and I don't want that. But anyway, you don't have to do what I did. You don't have to make it as long as I did. I just wanted mine to be really, really long, because hopefully mine's going to end up at our local library, maybe a school library, but I wanted it to be long enough where he can go across a bookshelf, because I just think that would be super cute. But if it didn't catch in my last video, whenever I was sewing them together, I did realize that some of the pillows that I thought, oh, well, I'm just not going to stuff them, I had a problem then. It wasn't as easy to sew one piece to the other. So even the ones where I only put a tiny little bit of stuffing, it was easier for me to sew. Again, I did make the 3 big bulky pieces, and I just went ahead and left them, which obviously I'm going to leave them. I'm not going to go back and undo them and everything else, just because I like the way he turned out with the 3 large pillows in the front. If I ever do this again, I'm only going to have 1 in the front, and then the rest of them are going to go with the small pillows with stuffing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this, making this, and I'm getting ready to move on to a next project soon. Probably not going to be as complicated as this one, but anyway, if you like this and you want to see more and hopefully better videos, with any tips, tricks, suggestions you may have, I would love and appreciate that very much. But anyway, like, subscribe, hit the little bell to make sure you see all future uploads, and may God bless you all and you have a great day. Oh, and keep crafting. Bye.